In a recent clash between Oregon and Ohio State, a calculated and controversial move by the Ducks coaching staff has ignited a debate over NCAA rules, potentially prompting the association to make midseason adjustments. With just 10 seconds remaining and the Buckeyes within reach of a game-winning field goal, Oregon strategically called a timeout. When play resumed, the Ducks fielded 12 defenders instead of the allowed 11, aiming to bolster their defense in an obvious passing situation. The move led to an incomplete pass from Ohio State, and though Oregon incurred a 5-yard penalty, it also shaved 4 seconds off the clock, leaving Ohio State with just 6 seconds to make a last effort, ultimately securing Oregon's win. Unlike the NFL, which would have reset the game clock following the infraction, NCAA rules do not require that step in the case of a 12-men on the field penalty. Thus, Oregon effectively traded a minor penalty for valuable time, potentially altering the game's outcome. Following this incident, the NCAA Football Playing Rules Committee is examining the play, concerned that the penalty inadvertently rewarded Oregon by hindering Ohio State's chances. Steve Shaw, the NCAA Secretary Rules Editor, confirmed that the Big Ten officiating crew enforced the penalty correctly according to current rules. However, Shaw said that the NCAA is engaged in discussions on how to address such situations moving forward, aiming to prevent teams from leveraging rule gaps to their advantage. While the NCAA generally reviews and implements rule changes during the offseason, Shaw did not rule out the possibility of a mid-season interpretation bulletin, specifically addressing the Oregon-Ohio State situation. Such interpretation bulletins are rare but not unprecedented. They have been issued in past seasons to clarify rule applications in situations where teams could benefit unfairly from a penalty. In this case, one likely adjustment would direct officials to reset the game clock after similar infractions, aligning NCAA rules with NFL practices. Oregon's head coach, Dan Lanning, appeared to acknowledge the deliberate nature of the play during a post-game interview, saying, "We spend an inordinate amount of time on situations, and there are some situations that don't show up very often in college football. But this is one that obviously we have worked on. So you can see the result." His comments suggest that the Ducks had prepared for such a scenario, recognizing the potential advantage in using a timing loophole to shift the game's momentum. As discussions continue, the NCAA's decision could set a precedent in collegiate football, clarifying whether a team should be allowed to manipulate game situations to reduce their opponent's opportunities. If the committee issues a midseason directive, it would send a clear message against similar tactics, reinforcing the NCAA's stance that penalties should not provide a strategic benefit to the penalized team.